Once upon a time, in the busy city of Makondu, there lived a man named Chike. Chike had a big dream, to become the mayor of his city. But the road to victory wasn't going to be easy. He had to compete against three powerful people. Okoro, a rich businessman who could bribe just about anyone. Sister Joy, a pastor loved by everyone for her kind words and faith. And Bayo, a popular school teacher who on top of everything had bullied Chike back when they were in school. Driven by his excessive ambition, Chike turned to dark magic in the hope of winning the election. But as you can probably guess, you don't shake hands with the devil and sleep with your two eyes closed. Chike grew up in a poor but hard-working family. His parents worked hard from dawn to dusk but still struggled to feed their children. There were nights when they all went to bed hungry. Even though life was tough, Chike was smart, and his sharp mind earned him scholarships to study in a prestigious high school. But being around rich kids was a tough experience for him. He saw the clear injustice in society and how wealth was unfairly distributed. To make matters worse, he was often bullied for being poor, especially by Bayo, who made his life miserable. Those experiences planted a deep desire in Chike. He wanted to change the system. He became obsessed with the idea of creating a better life for people like his family. And the only way to do that, he believed, was by becoming a politician. While studying at university, Chike met Amma, the woman who would become his wife. Amma's warm smile and endless patience gave Chike hope. Even on his darkest days, she believed in him completely, and he was madly in love with her. It was also during university that Chike's dream of becoming a mayor began to take shape. What started as a simple goal quickly became an obsession. He spent hours sitting under the big baobab tree with his best friend, Kojo, discussing their plans to make Makondu a better place. They talked about fixing the dusty streets, helping market women struggling to make ends meet, and ensuring every child could afford to go to school. Chike's passion for change was deep, but there was one problem. He was terrible at public speaking. Chike stammered when nervous, and his speeches lacked the fire needed to move people. Chike, Kojo teased him one day, laughing, "How can you lead people if they are falling asleep during your speeches?" After university, Chike married Amma, and before long, they had a son named Kofi. Chike worked as an accountant, doing his best to provide for his family. They didn't have much, but Amma and Kofi were his world. Still, his dream of becoming a politician never faded. With the municipal elections approaching, Chike decided it was finally time to go after his dream. He registered as a candidate, and Kojo promised to support him every step of the way. They made a pact. If Chike won, Kojo would serve as his deputy. Together, they started campaigning, visiting market stalls and speaking at community gatherings. But the more Chike spoke, the more he realized he wasn't connecting with the people. His speeches were met with polite applause, but no spark of enthusiasm followed. The competition was fierce. Three other candidates, each more popular than the last, dominated the conversations in town. There was Okoro, the wealthy businessman who impressed people with his lavish promises. Then there was Sister Joy, a charismatic woman who ran the local church and had a natural gift for rallying crowds. And finally, there was Bayo, a former school teacher who had bullied Chike mercilessly during his high school years. Bayo mocked him openly now, saying, "Chike? Mayor? He couldn't even lead a game of ampe." Chike's lack of charisma, his nervous stutter, and his youth made it hard for people to take him seriously. Weeks passed and their progress was minimal. One evening, as they sat in Chike's small living room, Kojo hesitated before speaking. "Chike," Kojo said, his voice low, "I know about something that can really help us, but you need to be open-minded." "What are you talking about, Kojo?" Chike asked, clearly annoyed. Kojo started whispering and said, "There's a man, a witch. They say he's powerful and can help people win elections." The idea shocked Chike. Witchcraft? He'd heard whispers about politicians using dark magic, but he never imagined himself going down that road. "Kojo, are you serious?" he asked, his stomach twisting. "Chike, think about it. We've done everything we can and it's not working. Do you want to lose to Bio? To let him laugh at you for the rest of your life?" Chike was torn. The idea of seeking help from a witch felt deeply wrong, but the thought of failing his family and himself was unbearable. He wanted to give them a better life, to make them proud. "Where is this man?" Chike asked finally, his voice heavy. Kojo's face lit up. "In a village not far from here. They call him Baba Nanga. I'll take you." The next morning, as the first rays of sunlight painted the sky orange, Chike and Kojo set off. They rode a motorbike along dusty roads, past fields of maize and cassava, until they reached a quiet, almost eerie village. Baba Nanga's hut stood at the edge of the forest, small and covered in strange symbols. Inside the hut, the air was thick with the smell of burning herbs. Baba Nanga, an old man with piercing eyes, sat cross-legged on the floor. He said nothing as Kojo explained Chike's situation. "Baba, my friend here, wants to be the mayor of Makondu, but the people, they don't listen to him. Can you help?" Baba Nanga finally spoke, his voice deep and chilling. "You want people to follow you," he said. "You want them to believe in you when you speak." Chike said yes with a big smile. "Well, it can be done," Baba Nanga said, leaning forward, "but it will cost you." A chill ran down Chike's spine. "What do you mean?" "For now, bring me money and a black bull. The ritual will call a spirit to guide you. It will amplify your voice and make people listen to you. But understand this, once the spirit is with you, there is no turning back. It will follow you always." Chike hesitated, fear gripping him. Kojo, noticing his friend's doubt, placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "It's just some money and a bull, Chike. This is your chance. Don't let fear stop you." Chike's heart pounded as he looked at Baba Nanga. Finally, he nodded. "We'll do it." That night, Chike and Kojo brought the black bull to the forest near Baba Nanga's hut. The moon was full, its eerie light casting long shadows on the clearing. Baba Nanga was already waiting for them, standing in front of strange markings drawn on the ground. In the center of the clearing was a large bowl filled with herbs and liquids that gave off an acrid, unsettling smell. The ritual began. Baba Nanga chanted in a language Chike didn't understand, his voice rising and falling in strange rhythms. He screamed, "O spirit of the forest, we offer you that bull in exchange of your power. Please come to us." Then Baba Nanga asked Chike to come to the center of the circle. He drew symbols on Chike's forehead and chest. "Speak your desire," Baba Nanga said, his voice low and commanding. Chike's voice trembled. "I want people to follow me when I talk. I want them to believe in me." The old man nodded and began chanting again. Suddenly, Chike felt a presence, an invisible force that sent chills down his spine. It was as though unseen eyes were watching him, and for the first time, he felt truly afraid. When the ritual ended, Baba Nanga looked at Chike and said, "The spirit is now with you. It will make your words powerful, but you must respect it. If you anger the spirit, it will turn against you. Chike nodded. He and Kojo left the forest in silence, both weighed down by what they had just done. The next day, Chike stood in the marketplace, ready to give a speech. At first, the familiar nervousness crept in. His hands shook and his mouth felt dry. But then something changed. He felt the presence again, just like during the ritual, and suddenly the words flowed from him effortlessly, like water from a river. As he spoke, people stopped what they were doing to listen. Shoppers and vendors paused mid-step, their eyes fixed on him. The crowd grew larger and larger, hanging on his every word. For the first time, Chike felt like he truly had their attention. And in that moment, he realized the spirit was working. Kojo was thrilled as they left the market. "It's working, Chike. You're finally getting through to them." Chike couldn't hide his excitement, but he didn't know the real cost of having the spirit was just beginning to unfold. That night, Chike was sound asleep when something woke him up. "Chike, Chike, come to the living room. We need to talk." Chike looked around the dark room. There was nothing. Terrified but unable to resist, Chike got up and made his way to the living room. Dukuziba appeared. He looked like Chike but with red eyes. "I am Dukuziba, your shadow spirit. You want to keep your power, don't you? Then you must listen to me." That night, Chike spoke with the spirit for the first time, and it wasn't the last. Dukuziba started waking Chike up at random hours of the night, sometimes several times in the same night. The lack of sleep started to take its toll. Chike's mood became unbearable. He would snap at Amma and Kofi over the smallest things, yelling for no reason. Dukuziba followed Chike everywhere. At home, when he was out with friends, and even in the toilets. The spirit never gave him a moment of peace. It demanded strange things, like dancing in the middle of the night or leaving offerings deep in the forest. Chike was too terrified to refuse any of Dukuziba's commands. But each time he obeyed, something strange happened. His speeches got better. At rallies, crowds grew larger and people seemed completely captivated by his words. Slowly, Chike began to believe that Dukuziba's unsettling presence might actually be worth it. But as the weeks went on, Chike realized it still wasn't enough. Despite the spirit's help, Okoro, Sister Joy and Bayo remained far ahead in the polls. Chike's chances of winning still looked slim. One evening, as they reviewed the latest numbers, Kojo spoke up. "Chike," he said seriously, "Baba Nanga can help again." Chike became nervous. "What do you mean?" Kojo whispered. "We need to deal with the competition one by one." "Are you saying that you want to use dark magic against them?" Chike said, looking nervous. Kojo nodded. "It's the only way, Chike. If you want to win, you have to fight for it. Okoro, Sister Joy and Bayo, they won't hesitate to crush you. Do you think they're playing fair?" Chike didn't respond. Deep down he knew Kojo was right. Politics wasn't for the faint-hearted. And after everything he had already done, could he really stop now? A week later, Chike and Kojo found themselves back in Baba Nanga's hut. The old witch listened silently as Kojo explained their situation. "Okoro is the front runner," Kojo said. "If we don't bring him down, Chike has no chance." Baba Nanga nodded slowly. "Yes, this can be done, but it will require a personal touch." "What do you mean?" Chike asked, his voice tense. "I need dirty clothes belonging to Okoro. My spirits require them." Chike's eyes widened in disbelief. "Dirty clothes? How are we supposed to find that?" he asked, looking panicked. Baba Nanga remained calm. That is your problem. The spirits demand dirty clothes and they must have them. No substitutions. After they left the hut, Chike and Kojo sat outside brainstorming how to get their hands on Okoro's clothes. Kojo, always quick with ideas, soon came up with an evil plan. The next morning they went to Okoro's house and waited outside until the cleaning lady appeared. Kojo approached her with a big smile and offered her money for Okoro's dirty clothes. "What do you want them for?" she asked, looking suspicious. "Just for some work," Kojo replied casually. "We'll pay you 200 times your daily salary." 200 times, she repeated, her eyes lighting up. "Okay, I'll do it." The next day, the deal went smoothly. The cleaning lady handed over several items of clothing. Chike and Kojo couldn't believe how easily Okoro's own staff betrayed him, but they didn't dwell on it for long. They had what they needed. When they returned to Baba Nanga, he inspected the clothes with a satisfied nod. Without a word, he disappeared into another room to prepare the spell. After 2 hours, he returned with a small pouch. "The work is done," Baba Nanga said. "Now it's your turn. You must bury this in the middle of the cemetery, and you must go alone. The spirits demand it." Chike's stomach turned, but he didn't say a word. It was too late to back out now. That night, under a moonless sky, Chike made his way to the cemetery. The place was eerily silent, the air thick with the smell of damp earth. His flashlight shook in his trembling hand as he walked between rows of graves. Every noise made him jump, but each time fear threatened to stop him, Chike thought of his dream of being a mayor. Summoning his courage, he continued. When he reached the center of the cemetery, Chike started digging. The ground was hard, but eventually he dug a hole deep enough to bury the pouch. As he covered it with dirt, a sudden voice shattered the silence. "Hey you, what are you doing?" someone shouted. Chike froze. It was the cemetery's guardian. Without thinking, he ran as fast as he could. The guardian chased him, yelling after him, but Chike didn't stop. Somehow he managed to escape and made it home, his heart racing. When he entered the house, Amma was waiting in the living room. She looked at him, worried. "What's going on? Where were you in the middle of the night?" she asked. "Nothing," Chike replied quickly, his voice still shaky. "I just went for a walk, and a dog chased me." Amma shook her head and went back to bed. The next morning, Chike met Kojo at a cafe. He recounted the entire night, from the eerie silence of the cemetery to his narrow escape. "I don't know if it worked," Chike said nervously. "What if the guardian found it and dug it up? What if he recognized me? I'm so stressed." Before Kojo could respond, Chike's phone rang. It was a friend. "Chike, have you heard the news?" The voice on the other end asked excitedly. "Okoro is in the hospital. He fell really ill and can barely speak." Chike couldn't believe his ears. "It worked," he whispered, his hands trembling. All week, Okoro was fighting for his life in the hospital, completely paralyzed and unable to communicate. His doctors were baffled, unable to determine the cause of his condition. Eventually, Okoro's team announced that he would be withdrawing from the race. Chike's campaign saw an immediate boost. With one of the strongest competitors out of the picture, more people began to take him seriously. At rallies, his speeches attracted larger and more enthusiastic crowds. It seemed like Baba Nanga's magic was working. But Chike's newfound momentum didn't last long. Sister Joy, with her natural charisma and fiery speeches, was quickly gaining ground. Her rallies were packed and her name was on everyone's lips. One evening, as Chike and Kojo reviewed the latest poll numbers, Kojo leaned back in his chair. "Baba Nanga can help us again," he said, his tone serious. Chike's stomach tightened. "What now?" Kojo hesitated. "This one will be harder," he admitted. Sister Joy is a woman of God. To counter her, Baba Nanga will need something much stronger. Chike stared at Kojo, panic on his face. What would Baba Nanga demand this time, and how far was he willing to go? Later, Chike and Kojo sat in Baba Nanga's hut once again. The air was thick with the smell of burning herbs, and Baba Nanga's piercing eyes bore into him. Sister Joy, Chike began, his voice trembling. She's different. People love her, and she's close to God. Baba Nanga leaned back, stroking his beard thoughtfully. A woman of God, he murmured. Such people are protected by forces far greater than you can imagine. To bring her down will require a great sacrifice. Chike's throat went dry. What kind of sacrifice, sir? The old man paused, his sharp gaze fixed on Chike. You will have to give up a part of your body, but the spirit will choose what to take. Chike froze, his mind racing with fear. Kojo tried to encourage him. This is our only chance, Chike. Sister Joy is too strong. If we don't stop her, you'll lose everything. For days, Chike couldn't eat or sleep. The decision haunted him. What if I lose something important? He thought, pacing back and forth. He was lost in his thoughts when Kofi came running up to him. Papa, when you're mayor, will you take me to your office? Kofi asked, smiling brightly. Chike's eyes filled with tears. Of course, my boy, of course. At that moment, Chike realized he couldn't let his son down. He needed to win this election for Kofi, for Amma, and for himself. Finally, he made his decision. He returned to Baba Nanga and said, I'll do it. I accept the deal. The next morning, Chike woke up feeling anxious. He didn't open his eyes immediately. He was too afraid to find out what he had lost. Lying still in bed, he started checking his body. He touched his arms, legs, chest, and finally his manhood. Oh, thank God I didn't lose that, he said out loud, feeling relieved. Hesitantly, he opened his eyes. Panic hit him like a wave. He couldn't see from his left eye. Rushing to the mirror, he gasped in horror. His left eye was completely white. Chike screamed, waking Amma. What's going on? Amma shouted, rushing to his side. When she saw his eyes, she panicked. We are going to the hospital now. At the hospital, the doctors were baffled. They ran tests but couldn't explain why his eye had stopped working. Chike, however, knew exactly what had happened. From that moment on, he began wearing sunglasses everywhere. When people asked about it, he simply replied, eye day drip. That night, Chike stormed into Baba Nanga's hut, furious. Kojo was already there, waiting. My eye, Chike shouted. Are you out of your mind? How am I supposed to be mayor if I can't even see properly? Baba Nanga remained calm, gesturing for Chike to sit down. You requested a big job, Chike, and big jobs require big sacrifices, but your solution is ready. He handed Chike a small vial of dark liquid. We can't attack Sister Joy from a distance like Okoro. She is too protected. Take this liquid and do whatever it takes to make her consume it. Once it's done, you will see the power of the spirit. Chike's hand trembled as he took the vial. Making Sister Joy drink, this would be difficult, but not impossible. After discussing with Kojo, they came up with a plan. The following Sunday, Chike and Kojo attended one of Sister Joy's services. The church was packed, filled with people who adored her. The atmosphere was electric as Sister Joy delivered a fiery sermon, passionately preaching about her vision for the city if she won the election. Chike shook his head. What kind of pastor does a political campaign during a Sunday service? He muttered under his breath. Then he smirked. She's both a pastor and a politician, a pastician. After the service, they approached Sister Joy, pretending to be curious about her church. Sister Joy, I need God in my life, Chike said with a humble tone. Please, teach me." Sister Joy, being kind-hearted and trusting, didn't suspect a thing. Despite knowing they were her opponents, she saw them as lost souls in need of guidance. She invited them over for dinner at her house that evening. At dinner, Sister Joy spoke passionately about her faith and the good she wanted to do for the city. But Chike's mind was elsewhere. He was waiting for the right moment. When Sister Joy went to the kitchen to get dessert, Chike seized the opportunity and quickly poured the contents of the vial into a drink. The effects were almost immediate. By the end of the evening, Sister Joy looked pale and weak, her movements slow and unsteady. She tried to keep a strong face, but it was clear something was very wrong. The next day, the news spread like wildfire. Sister Joy had fallen gravely ill. Her doctors were baffled, unable to determine the cause. Within days, she announced her withdrawal from the race. Rumors began circulating in the city, with people whispering about candidates being poisoned. To avoid suspicion, Chike pretended to fall ill himself, disappearing from public view for 10 days. When he returned, he claimed that he had been saved by God. Sister Joy's former supporters, desperate for a new leader, flocked to Chike, seeing him as a man touched by divine intervention. Chike's campaign soared. With two of his strongest competitors out of the way, he became the leading contender. His rallies grew larger than ever, his words resonating with a power that even he couldn't fully explain. People began to call him a savior, a man of the people, and the one destined to lead Makondu. But Chike felt no joy. At night, he couldn't sleep, his mind consumed by guilt. He had lost his eye, and Dukuziba's constant presence disturbed any peace he tried to find. On top of that, his family was suffering. His absence and growing distance from Ama and Kofi broke his heart, but he couldn't turn back now. One evening, as Chike and Kojo celebrated their growing success, the mood quickly shifted. They both knew it was far from over. Bayo was still in the race, stronger than ever, and they needed to find a way to deal with him. "Do you think we can beat Bayo?" Chike asked, a note of worry in his voice. Kojo's expression grew serious. "Bayo is not like the others," he said quietly. "He's into witchcraft too." Chike's jaw dropped. Suddenly, it all made sense. Chike had always wondered how a simple schoolteacher could gain so much influence. Now, he realized Bayo wasn't just any competitor, he was someone who had walked the same dark path. "What do we do now?" Chike asked. Kojo gave him a reassuring look. "Don't worry, Baba Nanga will know what to do." Chike returned to Baba Nanga's hut, his heart heavy with unease. "Baba Nanga," Chike began, "Bayo is our last obstacle. If I get rid of him, I'll win. He's the one who bullied me all through high school, and now he stands in my way. I want the worst for him. Do whatever it takes to make that man disappear." Baba Nanga's expression grew serious. "Bayo is powerful," he said gravely. "He is protected by forces as strong as my own. To defeat him will require the ultimate sacrifice." Chike's stomach tightened. What kind of sacrifice?" he asked. Baba Nanga leaned closer, his piercing gaze locking onto Chike's. "The spirits asked for your son."
Is Chike going to sacrifice his son? Will he win the election? Or is Bayo too powerful to defeat? You'll discover it all in part 2. Until next time, take care and keep the stories alive.